The interrogation chamber aboard the Zephyrian dreadnought Void's Edge hummed with anticipation. Commander Vexhai adjusted his thermal sensors, watching the readouts dance across his multifaceted compound eyes. The human specimen sat bound in the center of the room, surrounded by a carefully orchestrated display of terror, designed to break even the most hardened warriors across 17 different species. Captain Sarah Chen looked around the chamber with obvious curiosity, her brown eyes taking in the pulsing bioluminescent walls that shifted between sickly yellows and deep crimsons. Holographic projections of past interrogation subjects flickered in the air, screaming Altarians, weeping Centauri delegates, even a few broken Krethak warriors who had begged for mercy within minutes. Fascinating architecture, Chen said, craning her neck to examine a particularly elaborate torture device suspended from the ceiling. Is that a neural disruptor? The crystalline matrix looks almost artistic. Vexhai's mandibles clicked in confusion. Where was the trembling? The pleading? The inevitable breakdown that preceded useful intelligence gathering? He activated the chamber's fear response amplifiers, flooding the room with psychic pressure designed to trigger primal terror in any sentient being. Chen simply tilted her head and chuckled. Oh, you're trying to scare me. That's adorable. Sub-Commander Yathara leaned toward her superior. Commander, perhaps the human's neural pathways are damaged? Our scans indicated standard mammalian brain structure. The scans were accurate, Vexhai replied, his voice carrying the harmonic undertones that typically reduced prisoners to quivering masses. Begin Phase 2. The chamber's walls suddenly erupted with scenes of destruction, human cities burning, Earth's oceans boiling away, children crying in the ruins of civilization. The temperature dropped to near freezing while speakers blasted the dying screams of 1,000 worlds the Zephyrian Empire had conquered. Chen watched the display with the expression of someone enjoying a mildly interesting documentary. Nice production values, she commented. Though I have to say your intelligence on human psychology could use some work. Impossible, Vexhai hissed. These scenarios have broken the will of every species we've encountered. What manner of creature are you? The kind that grew up on a planet where everything wants to kill us, Chen replied cheerfully. Do you know what we call those destruction scenarios you just showed me? Tuesday. She gestured toward the holographic burning cities. See, that's the thing about humans, we're not really afraid of dying. We're afraid of dying boring. My grandfather survived the London Blitz by playing poker in tube stations. My mother climbed Everest for fun. My brother races motorcycles at 300 kilometers per hour because, and I quote, the adrenaline makes him feel alive. Vexhai activated the chamber's final protocol, direct neural interface designed to flood the subject's mind with their deepest, most primal fears. The device hummed to life, its tendrils reaching toward Chen's temples. Oh, this should be good, she said, actually leaning forward to help the connection. I'm curious what you'll find in there. The neural probe made contact. For a moment, the chamber fell silent as the machine dove deep into human consciousness, searching for the terror that surely lurked in every thinking being's mind. Then the machine began to smoke. Warning, announced the ship's AI in a decidedly concerned tone. Fear analysis systems experiencing critical overload. Recommend immediate disconnection. Sparks flew from the neural interface as it tried to process what it had found. Instead of the expected catalog of terrors, it had encountered something unprecedented. A species that had taken their worst nightmares and turned them into entertainment. Horror movies, extreme sports, haunted houses, roller coasters, spicy food that could kill them, jokes about their own mortality. The machine couldn't comprehend a psychology that actively sought out fear as recreation. Fascinating, Chen mused as the smoking device retracted. Your technology seems to have assumed that fear and enjoyment were mutually exclusive. Common mistake. Yathara backed away from the control panel, her voice climbing several octaves. Commander, the psychological warfare suite is completely fried. The human's mind appears to be incompatible with terror-based interrogation. Vexhai stared at his prisoner, a cold realization creeping through his consciousness. His species had conquered half the galaxy using fear as their primary weapon. They had built their entire military doctrine around the assumption that all intelligent life shared the same basic survival instincts. Avoid pain, seek safety, fear death. You're not afraid of us, he said slowly. Chen's smile widened. Oh, I'm terrified. This is genuinely the most dangerous situation I've ever been in. But here's the thing about humans. Being scared doesn't stop us from doing what needs to be done. If anything, it makes us more creative. What do you mean? Well, while your machine was busy trying to find my deepest fears, I was memorizing the frequency of your ship's defensive systems. That neural probe works both ways, you know. Chen's bindings suddenly fell away. She had been systematically working them loose throughout the interrogation. Also, I noticed your artificial gravity relies on a remarkably unstable quantum field generator. Alarms began blaring throughout the ship as Chen's modifications to the gravity system took effect. The Void's edge shuddered as gravitational waves rippled through its hull. You see, Chen continued conversationally as she stood up, humans don't just laugh in the face of fear. We use it as fuel. Every horror story we tell ourselves, every nightmare we imagine, every terrifying scenario we dream up, that's not weakness. That's training. The interrogation chamber's door slid open as Chen's earlier tampering with the ship's systems bore fruit. She paused in the doorway, looking back at the two alien commanders who had somehow become the terrified prisoners in their own interrogation room. Thanks for the chat, she said with a wave. And next time you want to conquer humanity, try offering us something really scary, like a quiet, peaceful retirement. As klaxons wailed and the mighty Zephyrian dreadnought slowly tore itself apart, Chen disappeared into the corridors with the kind of laugh that would haunt Vexhi's dreams for the rest of his considerably shortened life. Behind her, the broken fear machine sparked one final time before going dark forever. After all, how do you terrorize a species that invented horror movies for entertainment?